everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning. So, may I know the strength of the class so that I get to know whether we need to wait for others to join or we can start? Okay. Thank you, Anisha. So we'll just wait for 1 more minute. Meanwhile, I'll just open the decks and all, and then we can start up the class. Okay, so may I know, is Tableau completed for you guys or Power BI is the first visualization session?
Tableau was there in our syllabus earlier, so we done it. It's the
Okay.
first class of Power BI.
Okay, but you have completed Tableau before.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
For some of us, we haven't completed Tableau.
Okay.
Yes, we haven't completed some of us.
Okay, no problem.
People, half of them have completed and half have not.
Sorry. Yours no.
Your voice is breaking.
Did Tableau before, so I'll start with Am I audible now? I changed the network.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, good. So, as I heard you guys, for some of you, the Tableau is not completed. So what I'll do is I'll start with a small introduction on what do we mean by data visualization. And once we understand what is data visualization, we'll move to the Power BI. So I'll take around half an hour to explain the concepts of data visualization, and then we can move it to Power BI. Because once you know what do we mean by data visualization and how and when it is being used, then in case of any tool, it doesn't matter which tool you're using, whether it's a Power BI or Tableau, you'll be able to apply the same concepts everywhere. Okay, just a minute. Share my screen. I think the deck is also ready. Okay. Meanwhile, parallel to once we start data visualization, can you open Google Chrome on your systems? And I'll share you one link. Just go there and download Power BI desktop version. So what we'll do is we'll keep the software for installation, and so that meanwhile we do the theory about it and the installation will get completed. So I'm just sharing the link over chat. Somebody asked me how many sessions or classes we'll have for Power BI. So in general, Power BI is around 10 to 12 hours class based on the number of doubts you guys have, based on how you are implementing things and all. So it's minimum 10 hours, maximum 12 hours. So moreover, minimum 3 sessions, maximum 4 sessions are required for this Power BI. And I'll try. So my agenda on the Power BI is like, I won't take a class in a manner that I'll dictate everything and you guys can try it out later. No, that's not how we are going to do it. We'll implement each and everything in the class. So please try not to miss any of the class, because one class output will become the input for the other class. So Power BI is not similar to Tableau, that wherever you have left, you can, if you have not attended those class, you can just do whatever in the class we are doing. Because in Power BI, what happens is we'll have a complete story around. So when I say story means we'll import the data, we'll do some data pre-processing on that data. Then once the pre-processing has been done, we'll implement or we'll load the data on the Power BI platform. After that, we'll add new columns, we'll learn a concept of measures, calculator field, DAX language and all. Once all those things are been done, we'll learn a concept called modeling relationship, which means once your data has been loaded, you have added whatever new columns you wanted in the data set. Now on that data set, we'll make the tables interactive to each other. And once all this process has been done, we'll do the visualization part. So now you can understand the complete dashboard or the output of visualization will depend on whatever things you do in all the previous classes. So that's the reason I would request everyone not to miss out any of the class. If in case if it's an emergency and you are not able to attend, please go through the video recording before attending the next session. Okay. Any doubts before we start?
So for Mac and all, we can't use of Power BI, right?
Yeah, you cannot use Power BI on Mac. How many people have Mac here?
Yeah, I have Mac.
I'm using a Mac right now. Let me just switch to Windows. Give me 5.
Yeah. So you can be online on your Mac, and parallelly on the separate system, you can start opening the windows there. Because starting 30 minutes, I'll talk about the data visualization, and data visualization has nothing to do with the
Yeah,
those.
is there any alternative where I can use Power BI in a Mac?
Another alternative is the virtual machine, but you need to create the virtual machine connection and all. And on virtual machine, you need to take the Windows OS.
Okay.
That's the only alternative. So for timing, okay, there are many people who are using Mac, I think it seems. So this is the biggest drawback of Power BI, that it doesn't support Mac OS. It is only supported on the Windows OS, whereas Tableau and other tools are supported on both the operating system. So yeah, whosoever has Mac, like I cannot help you in that. You need to arrange a Windows system at least for these 3 classes. Please do it. Once you work with me on these classes, after that, like for your own personal practices and all, you can take your time and do it. But at least for these 3 classes, please arrange a system so that you can do the practical implementation with me during these classes. Okay. Okay, I have shared this link on the chat to download the Power BI desktop version. Please click on that link. You'll have option of advanced download option. Go there. Let's see what all options. You have download now and advanced. So if you click on download now, it will take you to the Microsoft Store. We don't have to go to the Microsoft Store. Just click on advanced download option. This is the next page, which you'll see. Scroll down. You need to choose the language here. So select a language as English and click on the download. Now, when you click on the download, it asks you 2 files, Power BI desktop setup and Power BI desktop setup cross 64. So if your system is already 64-bit, it's supposed 64-bit, then go ahead with the second option. There are only few files which are not present in the first option. So irrespective of which option you choose, it's fine for us right now. So you can opt for any of the options right now. And whenever you download Power BI, it will always download the latest version. You cannot go back and download some older version and there are updates which you get. So Power BI team, the Microsoft team basically share few updates on the Power BI as a tool because it's still emerging tool. So every 3 months or a quarter, they'll work around, they'll do some changes and will share the updated version of the Power BI. So even if you start working on the Power BI, you'll get a small pop-up on the right side on the right bottom side of your screen saying that update your Power BI desktop version. So even you just need to click on update there, and it will update to the latest version, and your reports will never get impacted. So that's the good thing about Power BI. Okay, so just choose any of the option based on your system configuration, and keep it for download. And then once it gets download, double click on the application and keep it for the installation. Dipali, since you have already installed Power BI, as I said, open the Power BI on your system. On the right corner, you'll get an update option. If your Power BI was installed long back, please update it to the latest version.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So let me know once you keep it for installation. After that, I'll start the theory about the data visualization. So downloading will be faster. Once you download, click on the application, double click on it, keep it for installation.
I have a doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since Power BI and Tableau both comes under visualization, so which one should I go for, or should we learn the both?
Ideal case, you should learn both. And for an interview purpose, even if you know one tool in detail, people are fine with it, because we expect people to know at least one tool, because the same visualization concepts can be applied to the other tool. It's just the UI gets changed and there are a few changes which you need to learn. So Tableau and Power BI both have their own way of working on the platform. So Power BI includes DAX language and all. So those concepts becomes important. And from an organization point of view, it's not exactly in your hand whether you want to use Tableau or Power BI. If your organization is using Power BI, you're supposed to use Power BI. If the organization is using Tableau, you're supposed to use Tableau, because both are your licensed product, and your organization will take the license for the platform or the tool, and based on the license they have taken, you need to work on it. So I would suggest, if you know both, that's very great. If you're not able to understand both, or you're not an expert in both, at least be an expert in one of the two.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sure, can we, hi, Vishali this side.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
go ahead.
wanted to know, can we install Power BI desktop from Microsoft Store if not downloaded?
Yeah, you can.
I have actually taken the Microsoft Store setup.
Okay, setup.
I've installed it.
Yeah, it works. Same application will get downloaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. There are two options, right? PBI desktop setup.exe and PBI desktop setup underscore x64.exe. Which one we need to select here?
If your system configuration is across 64-bit, and because it has a more MB as compared to the previous one, you can go ahead with the second option.
Okay. Thank you.
I have opened Power BI desktop, but I'm not getting any option to upgrade it. So where to wish to find it?
On the right side corner, in general, it says, so if it's not giving, have you downloaded it recently?
No,
this
it was
quarter?
earlier in my machine.
Okay, it will, once you create reports and all, it will ask you the upgrade version. Even if it's not asking, it doesn't matter, no problem.
Okay.
The basic concepts what we'll learn will be there in older version also and new version also.
Okay.
The new version always comes with a small change of either addition of a new charts or a visual, which people might have asked that they need these things, or small changes with respect to tabs, the look and feel of the UI platform. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I hope everyone has kept it for installation. So let's move ahead. Okay. Yeah, so let's move ahead with the what do we understand by data visualization? Okay, so I'm throwing this question out to you guys. What do you understand by data visualization right now? What is your understanding?
Representing the raw data to meaningful insight.
Okay, correct. Any other? Anyone else?
Like we have large amount of data set, and if we have to show it in a simpler form so that anyone can understand using charts and using charts. So that is
Mm-hmm.
data visualization.
Actually, it's an art of transforming the most complex data into charts, graphs, and maps so that it will make us easier to interpret the patterns and the trends that are going on in the current world.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. All the answers are correct. Exactly. Data visualization is basically converting the raw information into a graphical representation so that it's easy to read and understand by the end users. Now, your end users might not be the one who are creating that data or who are working there, but if you create some graphs, at least with the trends and all, they can easily understand how the things are working there. So yeah, data visualization is a graphical representation of any raw information in form of charts, graphs, or tables or anything. So, okay, now data visualization. Yeah, this is a definition. You can go ahead and read it. Same what I just iterated. Yeah, now data visualization has two aspects, which means exploratory data visualization and explanatory data visualization. So I'm not sure whether you guys have completed your machine learning module or not, but in that you might have heard, or you might have heard outside also, EDA. So anybody knows what do we mean by EDA?
Yes, we have covered this.
You have covered this, right? So what do you do in EDA?
We transform the data. Basically, we check the information of the data, whether it has any null values, how many columns in there, what is the type of the data. Basically,
Correct.
this type. Yeah.
Correct. So EDA stands for exploratory data analysis. So you do an analysis by exploring the unknown data set. Similarly, data visualization has a concept called exploratory data visualization, which means without directly jumping on creating on the visuals, you need to understand what data set you have, how many records it have, whether for a particular column, it makes sense to create trend, it makes sense to create bar chart, how the pattern look like, how whether there are outliers in the data or not. So complete understanding of the data is done in the exploratory data visualization. So you explore the huge set of data, you compare and you discover whether there are trends, patterns, outliers. You try to analyze the relationship between different variables you have. You might have categorical variable in your data, you might have continuous variable in your data set, how they are related, how two variables are related, whether all the variables are required or not, whether new variables should be created or not, new columns and variables should be created or not. So, and once you understand all this, you pick what are the right charts to be created for particular column or particular information you want to show it on. So that all complete where you are creating a story is called exploratory data visualization. Now, once you have created a story and you have done exploration on data visualization and you have created your charts based on your understanding, the next step or the next aspect comes is explanatory data visualization, which means you need to explain your story to the end users. So obviously, it's not possible for each one of you to go to your stakeholders separately and say that, okay, this is my dashboard, this graph means this graph means this, and so and so. That is not possible. So whatever dashboard or whatever data visualization you are creating should be self-explanatory in telling the story, which means the type of graphs you are creating, the type of metrics you are choosing to put it on the dashboard should be insightful and should tell a proper story about the objective you are solving. So if let's say if a problem statement was thrown to you and it was asked that, okay, create a dashboard so that we can view this, or we can see how the product launch is, whether it's a success or there are some drawbacks with it, right? So you need to create metrics which are specific to that product launch. We cannot create a metric which is not at all related to that product launch, because your dashboard will help people to understand what are the next steps to be taken. So two aspects: exploratory data analysis and explanatory data analysis. Exploratory is creating or finding the story. Explanatory is basically presenting the output, telling your story in a precise manner. Any doubts here? Okay. Okay, moving to the next part. When we say data visualization, there are few concepts. So let's say machine learning, you guys have learned, you might have learned other programming languages also. So in analytics or in data science, you never directly jump on what needs to be done. So if you are supposed to create an algorithm, you will never go directly and create an algorithm. No, you need to have a background understanding about why you need to create, what is the data you need to use, how it will impact on all those things, right? So you need to have an understanding about the data. So data visualization includes those concepts also, that you should know what is the data source you are going to use, what's the volume of the data, how the data is getting incremented, whether it's a incremental data, it's a fact level data, what type of data. So you need to have an understanding about complete data source, complete system of the data. Then you need to know what insights people are looking for. So let's say, because your data should be able to drive the insights, right? So you should know whether that data is correct or not. Are there any pre-processing which is supposed to be done? You are doing that pre-processing or not? And whether that data is able to give an answer to a metric in a form of insight or not. Once you do all these things, then you jump on as a next step for the machine learning algorithm. So you do the basic analysis in this format. Once you know, okay, the things are moving in this format, like let's say, if you want to do forecasting, you will never directly do the forecasting with the data. You will first try to understand what was the past trend, which algorithm is better to use here, whether I have the required columns or not. Once you have answers for all these things, then you pick which machine learning algorithm to be applied there, and you go ahead. So this is a complete process. So data visualization is one of the important process in analytics and data science. Okay. Moving further. Okay. Now, why does data visualization work well, basically? So let's say you need to find out product category with highest sales. I'm giving you a problem statement that you need to find out a product category which has the highest sales. So you can do this in a visual format also and Excel format also, right? In Excel, you have the data in a row column format. You can either use that, or you can create a visual. So obviously, visual will be much easy to understand based on the data you have, because if you have the data at an order level, then you need to roll up it at a product category and see what is the highest sales. So your visualization will help you in answering those questions directly. Now, let's say when you create a visual for each product category with the sales, so let's assume a graph, 1 minute. Yeah. So let's say what I'll do is I'll have product category on the x-axis and sales on the y-axis, and you'll have these bars. So the height of this bar will indicate which product category has the highest sales, correct?
Yes.
Now let's say I add one more metric here. What I do is I change the color of each bar, and the color of each bar is separate. Now, if I ask you what is the highest sales, then you need to think a bit whether color is indicating the sales value or the height of the bar is indicating the sales value. Correct? You understanding till this point, right? So now there are two indicators, height and color. So you need some time to understand what color is used for and what height of a bar is representing. Once you have both the representations clear, then you can say, okay, this product category has the highest sales, right? So these are some decoding methods which are used for visualization so that you can make your visualization clear and concise. So now I'll give you one example. Sorry. So the concept which I told you right now, the first example was product category and highest sales. The height of a bar was indicating the highest sales, and you were able to pick that quickly. The second was I added one more factor called color into picture. So now height of the bar and the color, you need to take some time to understand which will indicate the sales value of the product category. So these two methods are called pre-attentive data visualization and attentive data visualization. So by pre-attentive, we mean that you just look at the graph or chart and you quickly answers that, okay, this is what is happening with the chart, which means your brain is using subconscious mind to quickly identify the patterns that, okay, this pattern is like that, this bar has the highest height, so this product category will have the highest sales. So that is your subconscious mind, which is quickly identifying the pattern, which you don't need a lot of attention or a lot of focus to understand that graph. But in the second case, where I gave you an example of color and height, where both have some representation, in that case, you need to consciously understand and focus which particular metric or which particular color or let's say height is indicating what, and based on that you need to take a conscious decision that, okay, this is the product category sales is highest because of this reason, right? So there you are putting some attention there, so that's called your attentive mind has been used. That is a attentive processing which has been done, and in the first case it was pre-attentive processing. So whenever we create data visualization, we try to break the charts into these two formats. So there should be few charts where people should be quickly able to look at and see, okay, what exactly is happening. And there will be some charts where you need to add the complexity there, because you need to show multiple metric at one go, and each metric will be represented or decoded in a different format. So what all decode techniques are used, we'll come to that later. But yeah, this is how pre-attentive and attentive mind concept works. Any doubts? Okay, just to prove this concept, I have an example here. So in the next slide, I'll show you one visual, and there is a question which has been present on the next slide itself. So looking at the visual, try to answer that question, and I'll start a stopwatch, and we'll see in how many minutes, seconds you are able to answer that. Okay. Okay. So you need to count the number of fives from this slide. Your time starts now. Okay. So I have received quite a few answers. I won't tell you whether it's right or not, but I tracked the time. The first reply I got was around 28-30 seconds approximately. Okay, let's move to the next slide. You have a similar question on the next slide. Let's answer that question also. Sorry. Yeah. Again, you need to count the number of fives. Yeah. So for the next slide, for the current slide, which you can see on the screen, I got the answers in 8 to 9 seconds. Okay. So you can see the difference there. So the representation of these two slides was just to explain you the concept between the pre-attentive and the attentive attention. In the first slide, you need to use the attentive processing. You need to go through each and every number and cross-check whether the number is 5 or not. But in the second slide, you got to know that all the 5s are indicated in red color. So you're not going to each and every number, you're just seeing whether the number color is red and you're counting it off, right? So that's the difference it creates when you use these decoding concepts and pre-attentive and attentive processing. So the reason behind showing you these slides was we'll try to implement a similar approach in the dashboard we'll create, and with a similar mindset and the thought process, right? So instead of creating fancy charts or build very complex charts on the dashboard, always focus on building something which is easily interpretable and readable by the users, because your end users might not understand data visualization in detail. So, but our main focus is to tell them what we are trying to present, right? So we are not trying to show them that, okay, this is how much we know. We are trying to tell them this is the insight from the data, this is the story from the data, right? So always focus on creating simpler charts which are easy to understand. Okay. Now, yeah, we have one more example here. So I have a yeah, we have a tile chart. This is called as a tile chart. On y-axis, we have the state names, and on x-axis, we have the years. The color of the each tile represents number of cases per 1 lakh people. It's written at the bottom. And we have a black line here at year 1963. So you guys need to see what's the difference after black line. What you can see. What has happened after black line, or what's the difference on the graph you are able to understand after that black line.
Increase in the cases, maybe after 1960 vaccine or something revolutionary has been done.
Correct. Yeah. Any other answers?
The data are being reduced after 1963.
Correct. So from this graph, we can see on the left side of the black line, you can see a lot of colors, but on the right side of the black line, the colors and the gradient have decreased, which means the number of cases after 1963 has reduced. That's first insight from this graph. Now the next question can come is why the number of cases have reduced. So that's next level of analysis, which we are supposed to do. It might be a vaccine which got introduced, or might be like simply the people got immune and now the number of cases have been reduced. So the reason can be anything, but the first understanding is the number of cases are reduced. Why it is reduced, that is a different story altogether, but correct. Okay. So yeah, vaccine introduced. Similarly, we have, yeah. So these are the visual encoding options which I was talking about, or visual encoding ways which I was talking about. So you can do the encoding in terms of position, length, hue. Hue means changing the color. Saturation, which means changing the gradient of the same color. Size, shape, angle, and texture. All these are your visual encoding, which helps you to differentiate between different metrics, and based on the type of data, whether it's a quantitative or qualitative, ordinal, nominal, and so you can choose what type of visual encoding can be done, and you can use this technique to make your visuals more clearer and easy to understand. Okay. So let's say I'll give you one example here. So I have four products, and we want to compare the sales of these products for months from Jan to July. So I have four products. I want to compare the sales across 6 months, that is Jan to July month. So how will you do it? What is your understanding? Any guesses? Then I'll tell you how we can do it. Four products, compare the sales of these products for 6 months, Jan to July. What will be on x-axis? What will be on y-axis? How will you do it?
For y-axis, we can take a quantitative measure where we can have counts, percentages, and metrics. And on the x-axis, we can take the categories where we can mention the rankings and the time.
Okay, but where will you mention the month? Because we need to compare
And
6 months.
we can take y-axis as a sales and axis is the product's name.
Okay. And where will month go? Because I need to know, I need to compare for Jan to July.
Okay, so we can take y-axis as a month and x-axis as the products.
For
Then
me,
where the sales
it
will
might
go?
be x-axis would be the months or the product categories, and for the y, it will be the revenue, or I mean the figures, the sales figures. As it is a quantitative measure.
Okay, so right
We
now,
can
whatever.
have some kind of filters like for the months from the drop down. Like for example, we can
No,
select
but
Jan.
yeah,
Then
if
on
we
the
add filter
y-axis,
there, I won't be able to compare a trend for last 6 months for the 4 products, right? In filter, I can choose one or many at a go. So it will give me an aggregated value for the selection I have done.
We can use month in the x-axis, the sales in the y-axis, and for the product differentiation, we can use hue as a factor. Like different bar would have different colors for identifying the different products.
Yeah, correct. Correct. The graph you indicated is not correct, but the concept is correct. So what will, instead of bar, we'll use a line chart here. So but the concept you have used is perfect. So what we'll do is on x-axis, you can have the timeline, that is Jan to July months. On y-axis, you have the sales. And to compare between the 4 different products, you should have 4 different lines of different colors, each line indicating one product, and the trend can be created across months there, right? So that means how the output will look like is, I have one line like this. I might have one line like this. I might have one line like this. And one line. So all these 4 lines are indicating 4 different products of different color. X-axis, I have from Jan, Feb, March, April, all the 6 months till July. And on y-axis, I'll have the sales value. Okay, so this is how you create the product. So here we are using hue as a visual encoding technique to create the differentiation between the products. Okay, this was just one example. As in when we go further, we practice on creating these graphs, you'll have a proper understanding. Okay, any doubts?
I get confused on where to choose which graphs.
We'll come to that point.
Okay.
I'll come to that point. Okay. So yeah, so this is again the example of explaining the concept or creating a better chart. This is a perfect way. So here I have 2 graphs which are indicating which city has the highest sale or the least sale. So let's say I want to know which city has the highest sale. Which is the graph which you find it easy to read here?
right hand side.
Right hand side. So right hand side is more effective. I can easily see the height of the bar is more. So Melbourne is the city with the highest sales. On the left hand side, though it is indicating the same information, but the information is not clear. So I need to go to I need to go to the column. I need to see the city. I need to see the gradient, and then we need to compare. If let's say there was a very small difference between the Melbourne and Geelong, both of them would have been dark green, then it would have been very difficult for us to find out which city has the highest sale, right? So that's the reason we need to find out, we need to choose a correct graph to be shown here with a proper visual encoding. The information conveyed is same from both the graphs. Okay, yeah. Now, yeah, a lot of people have a lot of doubts or a lot of confusion in which type of chart should be created for what type of information. So I have a proper simpler diagram which will help you to refer whenever you are creating a chart. So there are different type of charts which are available on every platform. There are complex charts like waterfall, radar, and all those things, but we are not going to use those charts until unless we need it. The information cannot become shown in any other format. So, but the basic charts, multi-bar chart, stack bar chart, line chart, combo chart, pie charts, area-wise stack charts, bar chart, all these scatter plots, all these are your common charts which are used across. So this is the table, or this is the view. I would like you to understand. Just expand this. I hope it's visible to you guys now. Okay, just remember this view. Whenever you are creating any type of charts or anything, just remember this. Just refer this diagram and you'll get to know which type of chart should be created for what type of information. So one easy way is whenever you want to show any information in a time format. So let's say time means if any of the time indicator has been used, whether it's a year, month, quarter, date, week, day, and hours, seconds, minutes. If any of these time related information has been shown, always try to create a line chart, because line charts are best indicator for your time related metrics. It should be continuous plus the time metric is there. If both the conditions have been true, then it's a line chart which you need to create. If it's not continuous, if it's a discrete, then line chart will never make sense. So for continuous variable where we can see trends and all, it's always advisable to create line charts, combo line charts and all. Whereas if you have a categorical variable, it's always advisable to create the bar charts. So let's see a few of the charts which we can create. So from center, we'll move to the left side first towards the relationship, which means whenever you need to find out the relationship between two or more variable, two or more columns, in that case, you can use these charts. So if you want to find out relationship between two variables, always use a scatter plot. One variable on x-axis, second variable on y-axis, and compare both the variables. If you have more than one variable, more than two variables to be compared, the next set is bubble chart. In bubble chart, you can have one variable on the x-axis, another variable on y-axis. The third variable can indicate the size of the bubble. And the fourth variable, fourth variable can indicate the color of the bubble. So maximum of four variables you can compare for the relationship. Similarly, if you want to see the distribution, we'll move to the right side from the center. If you want to see the distribution, how the data has been distributed, let's say if you have a sales, right? Sales as a column, you want to know, you want to bucket the sales into few buckets. So you need to understand the distribution of your sales value. What's the minimum, maximum, where the maximum chunks lies, what is the 50th percentile value, what is the 80th percentile value, and so on. So to understand such a distribution, you can use column histogram. So if you have a single variable for which you need to understand the distribution, you can use a histogram concept. If you have a few data points which can be counted, let's say less than 10 or 20 data points, for that you can create a histogram. If you have many data points, create a line histogram. So column histogram is for few data points, line histogram is for many data points. And then to understand the distribution also, if you have two variables, create a scatter plot. Three variable, create a 3D chart, area chart. And if you have many variables, go ahead with the box plot. The next comparison is from center, we'll go bottom here, composition. Composition means I have two, let's say categorical variables. Let's say I have one, what should I give example? Let's say I have a category of electronics. Let's say within electronics, I'll have a subcategory as electronics has been categorized into 4 subcategories. Let's say the one will be smaller set of electronic items, which means like a smaller blender, grinder, and all those things. Huge higher volume and a high value electronics items like fridge, TV, and all those things. Then you have the different category altogether. So it's similarly, you have 4 subcategories of electronics, right? So now if I want to know how the 4 categories within this electronics as a department is working, or what's the trend of these. So what I'm doing is I want to see the composition from these 4 subcategories to the upper level. So in that case, I'm seeing how each one of them is contributing across time or in a specific period of time. But I'm focused about the composition part here. So in that case, we always use a stack chart. So if you see, if you move from center to bottom and on the left side, you have changing over time. If you have fewer periods or many periods, basically we are using stack 100% column chart and stack column chart. Any doubts? Okay. So stack 100% column chart means, let's say if my electronics sales value is 1000. So out of 1000, how much is been contributed by category 1, how much has been contributed by category 2, how much has been contributed by category 3 and category 4. All of them should sum up to 100%, 2000 as a value. So when all of them sum up to 100%, that is your 100% stack column chart. And if all of them are not summing to 100%, you're talking in absolute terms, that all of them should sum up to the absolute value of 1000 there, then it's a stack column chart, because y-axis is not a percentage here. Okay, so these are the compositions which are being shown within or from each category. So these things, if you have already done Tableau also, you might recall from there that when you do show me on the Tableau, you'll get an indication that what is the minimum requirement to create a chart. So for stack charts, you should have 2 categorical variables and 1 continuous variable to create a stack chart. 2 categorical variables means 1 for showing the composition and 1 is the superset of the variable, that is, let's say, department and category. These were 2 categorical variables, and the sales was the continuous variable where we can show the values. Similarly, other charts which can be used is areas 100% stack chart, stacked area chart. Then you have tree map also. Tree map is kind of like when you have a lot of values, in that case, it's not possible to show all the values on the dashboard. So, or on the visualization. So what you need to do is, like, based on the value, the size of the rectangle or the color of the rectangle can be changed in the tree map. So what you do, it exactly looks similar to what is in the visual right now. So the size of the rectangle will indicate, okay, this particular city has the highest sales or whatever metric you are using, right? So in that case, you can use tree map. Pie chart, again, composition. So all these things are used to show composition, how your composition is changing over time or on a given period of time. So, and the last one is comparison. So from center, if you move upwards here, you can do comparison among items and over time. So if you are comparing among items, which means you are comparing within the categorical variables, you can use heat map, you can use horizontal bar charts, vertical bar charts, or combo charts. And if you are doing the comparison for the continuous variable that is changing over time, you can have line charts, multi-line charts, column charts, and so on. Any doubts, anyone? Okay. Just go through these. You might not be able to absorb everything at one go, but as and when you create charts and all, you practice, you'll have a better understanding about these. Okay. This is the exercise here.
Hi.
Yeah.
I have one question. Could you please explain the radar chart, when it is supposed to use, if you can give me an example of that?
Yeah. So in general, as I said before, also, we don't use radar charts or such complex charts in our, like, in our visualization, because like it's very difficult for any new person to understand such charts. So but the benefits of using radar charts is whenever you want to do the comparison between the multiple variables, in that you can use the radar charts basically. So let's say if you want to compare the skills of the employees across different areas, in those cases you can use the radar charts. If you want to do the comparison of the product features, so one product might have multiple features, right? And similarly you'll have many products also. So if you want to compare the features of all the products, in that case, so you have multiple values from level 1 categorical variable, you have multiple values from level 2 categorical variables. In those cases you can use a radar chart basically. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now concluding the data visualization with the 6-step process. So whenever you are supposed to create a dashboard or a chart or any data visualization, so try to use these 6-step process, which means first is understand your user. You should know who are the end users who are going to use your dashboard, because unless you understand that point, you won't be able to create a right set of metrics and right set of charts for the user. Because let's say if a customer is using, you're supposed to show different set of information to the customer. If your dashboard is used by stakeholders to see how the company is working and all, you're supposed to show the different level of information to them. If the dashboard is used by the store people, so you're supposed to show the different metrics altogether. So it's important to understand who are the users so that you can choose the right set of graphs and metrics to be shown to them. The next question is define the question. The next step is define the question. So your visualization should be able to answer or should be able to indicate the clear insights coming from the visuals, which means you'll have a problem statement, you know why you are creating that dashboard. Now, based on that, think about what all metrics can be created, what all questions you can answer through your visuals, basically. And to those questions, you should have the proper answers which have been indicated from the sales. Let's say you show a trend about the sales, and you can see the sales is dropping in a particular month or particular year, and it's again coming back, let's say. You, as an analyst, as a data visualization person, you should know why that drop has happened. You should be able to answer that question also on your dashboard, right? So all these questions you need to ask yourself, understand, and try to create a right set of metrics for your dashboard. Even if you're not able to do it, take help from your product managers, your team members, and do this activity. The third step is ideate, design, and challenge, which means now you know what are the right set of metrics to be created. Choose the right set of graph which indicates or shows those information in a clear manner, and build the dashboard. Once you have built the dashboard, create and iterate. Your one visualization might not make sense, try another one. So see which is the best visualization to represent the information. Once you have completed your dashboard, test it with the user group or your peer group members, collect some feedback from them, and again reiterate or redefine, rework on those feedbacks, and share the final version of your dashboard. So this is a 6-step process which we follow in general. Okay, this is how a normal any service BI flow works. BI is your business intelligence. So in general, people who explicitly or only work on data visualization are called business intelligence, BI. So that's the reason it has been shown in this format. So the basic flow of any BI is you need to connect to the data in either format, Excel spreadsheets, or your data sources. Store your data, get your data and store it on the platform. Then you need to draft stories, which means do EDA in terms of understand your data, explore your data, create the right visuals and all. And finally, once your dashboard has been created, collect and share with the right set of people. Since sharing will always be your license part. So if your company has the license for that dashboard, you'll be able to share it off. So this is a 6-step process. This is a basic service flow of the BI tool. Any doubts, anyone? Okay. No doubts? Clear. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely share all the PDFs. So I'll take a link of the drive link from the team and I'll upload all the decks there. Okay. Now, can we go back and see whether Power BI is installed for everyone or not? Or if anyone is facing issue, let me know. And just give me a minute. Okay, so I'm assuming, sorry, I'm assuming Power BI is installed. So let's move to the Power BI now. So Power BI consists of three components are there for Power BI. The first component is your Windows desktop application, which we have downloaded right now. The second component is the Power BI as an online service. So you can see on the screen right now, the first one is desktop, the second one is Power BI online service. So I won't be able to explain you Power BI online service as a component because this is a licensed product. So if you have a license of Power BI, only in that case you can use this online service of a Power BI, which means whatever dashboards we create on the desktop version will be only able to publish those dashboards if we have the license there. So at an organization level, we definitely have the licenses there. And that's the reason we are able to publish and share it across. But at an individual level, we won't have the license. So I'll explain you the creation of the dashboards and all. Only the published part that is there is on the Power BI online service. I'll explain you this tool or this page using a Power BI documentation so that if in case whenever you use this component, it should not be new for you. It should look familiar to you, and even later on you can refer to those links. So in the last class, whenever we end up creating the dashboard, we'll also read about how this Power BI online service works, but I cannot actually open and show these things unless if any one of you have the license of the Power BI, would like to share your screen, I can even show or explain on that part also. Okay, and the third component is Power BI mobile apps. It's just to read the dashboards in the mobile format. That's it. It's not used that extensively also. So desktop version is used explicitly to create your Power BI visuals. So your data import and data pre-processing, modeling, everything happens on the desktop version. Once the dashboard has been created, only the dashboard has been published on the online service. Online service also gives you a small flexibility to make any changes with respect to the dashboard view. If you want to add or subtract any visual there, you can do it on the online service also. But you cannot import data on the online service. You cannot do data pre-processing, DAX language, all these things cannot be done. Only small changes with respect to visualization can be done on the online service also. Okay, now next, this is a high level architecture of the Power BI, which means the first phase is your raw data. I'll share you the raw data. So you need to import your data from the given data sources, that is your raw data. Then you have your Power Query window. Power Query window is also called as an mQuery window, which means once you connect with your data source, you directly don't load your data for the visualization. You do some transformation on the data set. You see whether the data is in the required format or not, whether the data types are correct or not for the data, whether the complete values are coming or not. It should not happen that your values are getting encrypted in between while loading it off or something. So, or if you have a lot of missing values, lot of outliers, you want to do some treatment there. You want to create, you want to change the column name and everything. All these things can be done under the transformation data tab. That is a Power Query window. Once you transform your data, you clean your data, then you load that data on the Power BI desktop window. Once the data has been loaded on the Power BI desktop window, you have a concept called model or Power Pivot, basically, which includes your DAX language to create calculative fields and measures. And you can also create a relationship between multiple data sources or multiple tables which you have loaded on the platform. Once all those things have been done, you end up creating the dashboard or the chart, and finally you share that dashboard across your stakeholders. So this is a high-level view of the Power BI architecture. Moving to the last slide here. What are the benefits of the Power BI? You can create real-time dashboards on Power BI. It's secure. You have the live connection with your data sources. You have the intuitive data exploration using the NLP and all. Since it's a Microsoft-owned product, it has integrated Power BI with other Microsoft products also, like Microsoft Office, Microsoft Teams, Azure, and all. The deployment is faster, secure, and it's integrated with the existing IT system. So these are the benefits of Power BI. Okay. Any questions before we move to the interface? So this is all about theory I wanted to talk about. And now we'll move towards the Power BI tool.
Just one question.
Yeah.
Is iOS also, Windows, for Windows, we have the Power BI desktop, but is it also included for iOS?
I don't think so. It will be included for mobile apps, you are saying, right? It might not be there. I haven't tried yet using the Power BI on Androids or iOS, because it just gives you the flexibility of reading on those apps, and that you can even do with the MWeb version of your mobile device also, irrespective of whether it's iOS or Android. You can use the MWeb version of your device, open Power BI online service, and you can read the dashboards there also.
In Power BI app, I can see in the App Store.
You cannot see?
I can see.
Okay, if you can see, then it might be integrated.
Yeah.
Because it's just for your reading
Reading
purpose.
purpose.
So none other functionality has been added there. So it might be there.
So it is there in Mac OS.
Oh, it's mentioned also. It's as well for iOS and Android device.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is also there for Mac OS and iOS as well.
For reading purpose, it's there, but Power BI desktop is not present for Mac, which means you cannot create a dashboard on the Mac system.
Okay, got it.
Just for viewing the Power BI apps, see, if you have a Mac system, you'll always have an access to this Power BI online service because it's an online link. You can easily use it. And in the same format for mobile users, since it's just for the reading purpose, you can use it for iOS and Android also. But for creation of the dashboard, you need the Power BI desktop, and that is only specific to your Windows platform.
Got it.
I've seen in few companies, mostly, I don't know, mostly in the service-based companies, what happens is the user is not, the main company is not providing, the service-based company will act as a vendors for the product-based companies, right? So in general, the product-based companies don't give them the creation access for the desktop. But what they do is, let's say you're working on a product-based company, I'm working as a service-based company. So one of your team member will import the data from the Power BI desktop and will publish that data set on the online service. Now I'm a vendor there. The access I will get is only Power BI online service, which means the data is already published on the online platform. I'll use that data set directly and I can create the required simpler charts directly on the online service. So for this part, online service part, again, you don't need Windows here. Only for the publishing part or the desktop part, you need the Windows. So there are many companies which work in this fashion also, that your work is only to create the visuals using the existing data source, which is already published on the online service. You will not be ever exposed to the desktop version, which means you will directly skip all the first 3 steps of the architecture, which I spoke about in the previous slides. That is, you cannot import the data, you cannot do data pre-processing, you cannot do modeling relationship, you cannot create any new column. So whatever your existing data is there, using that you can only create the dashboard and the charts. That flexibility is present on the Power BI online service. So I've seen in many companies this scenario also presents. So don't get confused that, okay, if you have a Mac system and they're asking you to create a Power BI online service report, so that cannot be done. That can be done because all those reports have been created on this URL, and you're not publishing any data set here. You're only working on the data set which already exists on this online service. If you need to publish the data set altogether, you need the Power BI desktop version and you need the Windows system for that. Okay. So now I hope everyone has installed Power BI on their system. Please open the Power BI. It's just loading for me. So to start with, I'll give you a brief about how the UI of a Power BI looks, so that when I'll use the terms while creating or while implementing the things, you should know from where I'm coming from. And I'll also import the data set. 1 minute. I'm sharing the data set over chat. So there are first 3 files. Create a folder and name that as a sales fact and save all the 3 files which I have shared in that folder. Then create another folder called sales dimension. And store the next 3 set of files in the sales dimension folder. Okay, have you downloaded the data?
What should be the name of the first folder that you said?
Sales fact.
Sales fact. Okay.
I'm also sharing one cheat sheet with you. We will not use in this class today. In the next class, we'll use, but I'm just sharing it out. Just download and keep it. I'll explain the usage in next class. Okay. So when you open your Power BI, you can see
Just
this is the
downloading files. Yeah, done. Thank you.
Okay, can we start now?
So only 2 folders need to be created: the sales factor and sales dimension.
Correct. And the third file which I have shared, that is a PBX file, just store it separately.
Okay.
In Power BI, do we need to blank it first?
Sorry. What have you asked in Power BI?
In Power BI, we have to select the blank report, right? First.
The first window, the pop-up window which you are getting with colorful one, just cross it off. When you do cross on the right side, you'll see this page.
No, there is option home page. In home page, you select the data source of the blank report.
You're not landing on this page, you're saying?
No.
You might be getting a window on top of this that is a kind of a green color window where you'll have 3 panes there, 3 vertical panes. That is there, right?
I open.
1 minute. If I'll reshare, you'll have a small cross mark on the right side, top side of that window. Just cross that.
Yeah, it's open.
It's open.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically that indicates what were your recent work you have done. So if you have your existing files or workbooks, it will show the names of those files. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's move ahead with the Power BI here. So this is the landing page of your Power BI tool, which means whenever you open the Power BI desktop, this is the page, this is the first page which you will see always. Okay. Now on this page, if you see on the left side corner, you can see left side vertical where my cursor is. There are 3 small icons. three small icons indicates three different level of views which we'll work on. The first view is called the report view. Report view is a place where you create your dashboard. Only on the report view you create charts and your dashboard. Okay. The next tab is your data view. Right now it's empty because we have not imported any data set yet. So data view means this is kind of your Excel. You have seen your Excel workbooks, right? So this data view will have the information stored in rows and column format, and you'll have the list of columns here, or whatever changes you want to do, the way you do it in Excel, all those things can be done here in the data view. And the third view here is called as a model view, which means this is a place where you create relationship between multiple tables. So let's say if you import multiple data sets, you want to fetch one information from one table, another information from another table. In those cases, you can use this page to interact your tables. So this is called as a model view. We'll come to each one of them separately. We'll work on it and we'll have an understanding there. Right now, I'm just giving you an overview about how these things look like, how the Power BI interface looks like basically. Okay, on the report view, on the right side, you can see you have three panes here, which means this is a data pane on the right side completely, which will hold the information about the table and the column names. So you'll have the list of columns and you'll have the list of tables here. You just need to drag and drop those on this visualization section to create the graphs. So to create a visuals on Power BI, it's majorly about the drag and drop part. So you need to select a visual from here, select any visual, let's say this one. You'll have the data column and all. You see, when you select a visual, you get an information here at bottom. Y-axis, x-axis, legend, small multiples, and all those things. You need to drag your column to the current segment here. If you want that value to be populated on the y-axis, drag it under y-axis. If you want it to be populated on the x-axis, drag it here. So this is with respect to visuals. You can see there are n number of visuals which you have on the Power BI screen. For you guys, you have the latest version which has been downloaded. You'll have more visuals as compared to my screen. And at the bottom, you can see update available. So it's also telling me that there is an update which is available on this Power BI desktop. If I click on it, it will download and update the Power BI. So this is how you can update your desktop version later on. Now, when you select any visual here, once you select it off, the second icon, this is called as format visual. So based on the visual you have selected, your formatting options will vary. If it's a line chart, you'll have a different set of formatting option. If it's a pie chart, you'll have a different set of formatting options. So each visual will have its own formatting options, which will be shown here. So again, I'll come to all of them in a separate class. Whenever we hit on these topics, we'll learn in detail. On the top ribbon, you can see there are 6 navigation windows here. If you see on the home page, the first part, home page is similar to your Excel again. The first is clipboard, cut, copy, paste format painter, which is basically what you do it in Excel and any other Microsoft document. So this is same. Then the next set is data. This is a place from where you import your data. So you click on get data here. I'll click on more here to explain you. So it shows me the list of data sources I can connect with. So you can see I can connect with file related data sources. And we have cloud RDBMS data source also. You can see SQL Server data source, Oracle, MySQL, IBM, Sybase, PostgreSQL, Teradata, SAP HANA, Google BigQuery, Amazon Redshift, Snowflake, all data sources are been present here. So based on the so in general, when you come work at an organization level, there will be a data engineering team who stores all these data into the cloud servers or in the relational databases system. So based on where your data engineering team is storing the data, you need to make a connection through that data source. And if you have a data in an Excel format or file format, simply go to file and choose the connection. So this is the place where you can create a connection or you can import the data. The next is transform data and refresh. So transform data, as I said before, whenever you import your data on the Power BI window, you directly not import it on this window, which you can see here. We import it in the Power Query editor, that is the transformation window. We do data pre-processing there and then load it here on this platform. So this transform data will take you to the new window altogether, that is called a Power Query window. Then you have the insert boxes for visuals or shapes or anything. Then you have calculations. So as I said, we'll use DAX language to create measures and calculative fields. So we'll use this segment. And then we have a publish option. So we won't be able to publish it off because we need to sign in with our corporate credentials. Only then we can publish the information. The next set is insert. Again, insert holds information about shapes, button, images, visuals and all, new page and all. So we can go through. Then we have modeling. So this modeling options are related to the creating the relationship between the different tables. So when we'll create a relationship between different tables, in that case, we can use this concept. This is views. What are things you want to see on the screen right now, that what this view means. What is the layout you want to see and all. So filters, bookmarks, all these things are present here that you can just explore. Sorry. Then you have optimize, performance analyzer and all, and help. These are the basic things. Okay, 1 minute, somebody has. Okay. Now, this was a basic understanding about the UI. So what we'll do is we'll start with importing the file. Any doubts before I proceed further? Clinical data set, clinical is your domain, right? Oh, I don't have, if you have any data set with you, you can share it. But the reason why we use the sales data set is because it's easy to understand it for everyone, because on daily basis you use apps like Amazon, you use apps for grocery and all, right? So if you have the data in that format, it's easy for anyone to understand the department names or anything, and that's the reason we use sales data. If I use clinical or any other domain, specific fintech or something, the people might not even know what's the terminology being used. Okay, I'm giving you 5 minutes to open the Excels I have shared. Just open all the Excels and see what type of data it has and tell me what you understand with that data. I'm giving you 5 minutes for that. Did someone ask anything? First, just open FY20 file. Go through that and let me know what is your understanding with that.
This is a detail of product related information like product ID, order date, ship
Mm-hmm.
date. So all are most of the are numerical data.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a product details of a company.
Okay. What's the granularity of the data? By granularity, I mean the lowest level of the data.
Not understanding this.
Lowest level means at what level you can see. You said order level, right?
Right.
Is it at the order level, or you can see the subset for orders also?
Item level, I think.
It's at order item level, correct.
Yeah.
So the unique combination in that complete document will be order and item combination. So if you combine order item, it will not repeat in the dashboard. So I'll just give you a brief about what data it is. So you can take any e-commerce website. Just imagine any e-commerce website, may it be Amazon, Flipkart, or anything. So this particular data consists of information for all the customers who are placing an order with an information of what all items were placed inside that order. So for last 3 years, that is year 20, FY 20, 21, and 22, what all transactions have been made with that e-commerce platform. So that's the level of data it stores. So it stores the transaction level information across few years. That's what that data has. That is the sales fact data. There is a sales dimension file which holds, if you just open that, Adventure Works, you can see it has the information kind of the master table information, which means you'll have the master table for products. The product ID won't get repeated there. Similarly, you'll have a master table for customer, master table for date, and so on, which means you won't have any repeats with respect to the primary column, that is the IDs there. Okay, so we'll import all the data on the Power BI platform. And if you have any doubts with respect to any of like file understanding or data understanding, please do ask me. Like after today's class, you can just have a look at the data set again so that you can build a proper understanding about the data. Now, one important change which everyone needs to do is go to File, go to Options and Settings, click on Options. File, Options and Setting, click on Options. There is a gray vertical bar here. You have global as an option and you have current file as an option. Under current file, you have data load. I'll repeat, go to File on the landing page top ribbon. From File, go to Options and Settings, then go to Options. You'll see this window on the screen. On this window, you have global here and you have current file. So under current file, go to Data Load. And you can see you have an option of relationship. In this, uncheck this button, third button, auto detect new relationship after data is loaded. Uncheck this and click on OK. Now, the reason why we are doing this is, since we are learning phase, we want to see how to create the relationship between the tables will load or the data will load. If I don't uncheck this option, you'll by default Power BI will use this intelligence and create the relationship between the tables automatically. Now that can be useful for you, that might not be useful. But since we are at a learning phase, we want to create it by ourselves and see how it happens. So that's the reason we are unchecking this option only for this particular workbook. When you open or create a new workbook, you need to do the same activity again if you want to create it by yourself. If you don't want to create it by yourself, you can let Power BI use it or create it by itself, right? So uncheck this and create OK. Okay, I'm repeating again, go to File, go to Options and Settings, go to Options, You'll have a window open. You'll have an option of global and current file. Under current file, you have data load. Click on that. You'll have the third option under relationship as auto detect new relationship after data is loaded. Uncheck this option and click on OK. Okay. I hope everyone has done that. Now we'll import the data. So go to data, get data. Our data is in form, has been stored in the form of Excel workbook. So I'll select Excel workbook. Go to sales fact first and choose FY20 as a file. Open. Now on this navigator window, you'll see the list of sheets in your Excel on the left side. And on the right side, you'll see the preview of that sheet. So if I check this button, you can see on the right side, I have the preview of the data. Now have a look at the data. What do you think? Is the data in the correct format, or we need to do some pre-processing here? What are the issues you can see in the data?
No, some transformation is needed.
Okay, what are the issues you can see in the data?
The values are null in most of
Null
the
values are there, correct.
section
Correct.
boxes.
Two rows needs to be striked out.
Right, correct.
The headers of the table needs to be out at the top.
Perfect, right.
Null columns need to be deleted.
Hmm.
These three I can find.
Column 23 and 24 doesn't have any data. That also needs to be modified.
Column 23 and 24. Okay, right. Cool. So from the preview, we got to know that there is some issue with the data, and that data needs to be pre-processed or cleaned in a proper format before we load. So you can see at bottom, you get the options of load and transform data. So if you click on load directly, you load the same data on your Power BI window. But we need to do some transformation. So what we'll do is we'll click on transform data. So never load your directly on the Power BI window. Always take a process of transforming the data and then load it on the window. So we'll click on transform data. Now, once you click on transform data, you can see a new window altogether is there. If I hover on the Power BI icon at the bottom, you can see there are two windows. One is your Power BI desktop. Another one is your Power Query editor. So we'll work on Power Query editor for transformation part. Okay. Now, so when you import this, you can see on the, I'll give you a brief about what all options we have on this tab. So on the left side, this pane, queries pane, you'll find the list of tables you'll import. So whatever data you'll import, all those data will be stored in a form of table here. So right now we have only one data set which we have imported, that is called FY20. So we have that. The center is similar to the way you can see the data in the Excel format, you are seeing in the similar format. On the right side pane, you can see these are some query settings. Query settings means from here you can change the name of your table. So let's update it to sales data, sales FY20, let's say. Okay, so you have changed the name of your table. Then at bottom you have applied steps. So on applied steps, if I click on source, it will tell you from where this particular table or data set was originated. So it was in a form of a sheet, the table, and the sheet name was FY20. So this is what the information it is giving. If I need to see what all columns are part of this table, I can go to data column here and click on table. It will navigate to expand this sheet. So it's asking me whether I want to continue for the navigation step or not. I'll click on continue and it expands to the detail about that sheet. Now, after navigation, you can see there are two more steps which are automatically taken. I have not I have not done any of these steps. Whenever I import the data, all the 4 steps are being done by Power BI automatically, which means what Power BI is trying is Power BI is trying to see what all headers the data set has. So it will try to assign a correct header to the data set. If Power BI is not able to do it by itself, then it's our responsibility to assign the headers to these data set. Then change data type. Change type means when we import the data, Power BI will assign the data type by itself based on the column understanding and the values it get. So right now you can see all the data type is ABC, ABC 1 to 3, alphanumeric or string. So now product key. This is your integer as a data type, right? It should be numeric. Why it is ABC? It's incorrect because the header name is incorrect. So your header is coming in the row column, row number 3, and because of that, it is reading the data type as wrong. So we need to make few changes. So all these things are read in a correct format. Okay. So this applied step helps us whatever steps we take here. So let's say if I add a new column, if I remove the null values, if I rename these column, all these are your steps which I'm taking with the data set. So all the steps are getting recorded under this section, under applied steps. If I want to go back and delete any steps or relook at any step, I can just click on that and travel to the steps. I just need to make sure that before deleting any step, there should not be any previous step which is dependent on that, right? Else your data will get impacted. So this is where the Power BI records each and every action you take on this screen, and it will see what all steps have been taken. 1 minute, I think. Okay. So now at bottom, you can see it's telling you the column profiling, which means there are 27 columns, 1,000 rows. How many rows you have in the Excel file? Okay, if you'll have around 3,000 rows, 3,000 plus rows in your Excel file for FY20. But on this window, you are able to see only 1,000 rows. So what actually happens here is, what you do is, whatever actions you want to take with respect to the cleaning or the pre-processing of the data, you do that action. All the actions get recorded here. Initially, those actions are only applied to 1,000 rows, irrespective of how many rows you have in your data set. But when you close this window and click on apply, that time, all these recorded actions will work on the remaining number of rows in your data set. So that's the reason it's important that all the recordings, all the actions are getting recorded here and should be correct, because it will get implemented to all your rows when you click on apply or when you click or when you close this window. Okay. The next part is, I'll explain all these things again, so don't worry about it. Like whenever we'll remove rows or null and all, the actions will get recorded and we'll see how it looks like. This is your formula bar. The way you have it on the Excel, this is a place where you write your formulas. So in Power BI, you don't have to write it by yourself. Power BI will write the codes by itself. You just need to drag and drop the things and it will write the backend code. So if you apply the operation on sample data, it will be reflected. Yes, if you apply the operation on the sample data, it will be reflected on the entire data. The reason why we are taking the sample here, because it takes a lot of time to apply it on the complete data, and you might not be sure whether you want to apply that action or not. You might be doing some testing and all. So your testing process should be faster. That's the reason you are given this flexibility of first trying out on the sample version, that is 1,000 rows, and then it can be applied on the complete data set.
Okay, understood. Thank
you. Okay. Yeah, Sumit, I'll give you a break. Just let me complete the ribbon part and then we'll give you a break. Okay, so this was a formula bar. Now On the top menu ribbon here, you can see Home, Transform, Add Column, View, Tools, Help. So under Home, you can see New Source, recent source or Enter Data, which means the way you got the options of Get Data from the desktop window, the similar options are here on the Power BI, Power Query Editor also, which means if you click on New Source, you'll get the options to import the data. Now, when you import from this window, you'll directly land to the transformation page only. It won't give you the option of loading here. So this is to import the data. This is the data source setting. Data source setting means if you want to make any connection changes with respect to the files from where it's been imported or change the permissions and all, you can do all those things here. Then you have manage parameters. You can just who should be viewed. Rule setting part can be done from here. Permission related things. Refresh preview. So in Power BI, since you can show the real-time data, you don't have to refresh it manually again, or you don't have to refresh each table separately. You can just click on this refresh option. The complete data can get refreshed directly. Then you have properties, advanced editor. Yeah. Advanced editor, you can see it's a query. It's a Power Query which Power BI is writing by itself for all the action or all the processing you are doing. So if you are already aware of this query, your programming skills are good, you can write your query and change the actions or change your data set and all. But if you're not good at programming, you don't have to worry about it. This part has nothing to do with us. We just need to do the drag and drop and the things will get recorded and the actions will get converted to the query part in this format automatically. So we don't have to worry about this section. Then this section is manage columns. If you want to do any changes on the column related perspective, you can do it here. This is for the rows. You can do any changes on the rows side here. Sorting, splitting of the columns, group by, all these things, merge queries, append queries, all these options are here. So we'll use mostly all the options from this ribbon and see how it has been used and performed. Then you have other options with respect to transformation page. You can see all these options are similar to what you have in Excel. So your top ribbons are similar to your Excel ribbon, unpivot, pivot, convert to list, join, statistics, standard, scientific, all these things are there. Okay, add column, yeah, same thing. Correct, okay. So that's all about the brief about Power Query Editor. Now since like you guys need a break, so what we can do is I'll give you a break and then we can start importing the data. So is there any doubts before we go on a break?
Hi, ma'am. Actually, my laptop got shut down, so I was not able to make the changes which you said before. Can you just tell me that process once again?
Yeah, sure. So go to file on the Power BI desktop, not on the query editor. Power BI desktop. You can see on the top left side, it should be named as Power BI desktop. Go to file, click on options and settings. Click on options. Under options, you have global and current file. Go to current file at bottom and click on data load. Under data load, you can see here relationships. Within relationship, the third option, uncheck this. It will be in this format for you. Click on this button, uncheck this and click on OK.
Yes, done, ma'am.
Done?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Ma'am, after that, we'll go to the get data and we'll upload the file.
Right. Get data and upload the file. Okay, so we'll proceed further. Once we do this, we'll proceed further after the break. So let's take a 10 minutes break and connect back and we can proceed further. So let's connect back at 11 and we'll proceed further with the next steps. Okay, I hope everyone is back.
Hi, ma'am. Can you just tell the process from get data once again? So, do we need to take a blank query or simply go to the Excel file and just upload the data?
Yeah, I'll just tell the steps of importing also again, and we'll import the data and we'll proceed with the data pre-processing. Okay, cool. So this is our landing page. Just a moment. Yeah. So this is our landing page, and from here, if you click on get data on top, you can choose Excel workbook, choose AW Sales FY25, which should be sitting in the sales fact folder, and click on open. Now, when you click on open, you'll see a navigator window. Select the file here. On the right side, you can see the preview of the data. Now we can see there are some changes which needs to be done in the data set. So instead of directly loading, what we'll do is we'll click on the transform data. Now, when you click on transform data, you can see a new window is open, that is Power Query Editor. I'll just delete this file because it's coming duplicate one for me. Yeah. So when you click on transform window, you'll see the data has been imported in the Power Query Editor in this format. On the right side, you have query settings. Under properties, you can change the name of your table. Now let's proceed with the data pre-processing here. So first thing which you guys told me was there are a lot of null values here. So how to know how many null values are there or how to do the data sanity on the table? So you can see under this column name, there is a green horizontal bar. If you hover on that, it gives you the information about column profiling, in which it means how many valid entries are there, how many errors are there, and how many rows are empty. So you can see for second column, 99% is valid entry, 2 rows are empty. Whereas for the first column, if you hover on it, only 1 row is valid, which means it has a value, and 99% rows are null. So if you see the structure of your Excel and the data which is imported, there was some formatting which was done on the Excel, which means in the Excel, first column was empty. From second column, we were storing the data set. On the rows also, since we were giving the period and all on the rows, so first 2 rows were empty, and from the third row, we were starting the actual data. But when we import it, all the rows will come into picture, right? So that's the reason the first column has come as a null and first 2 rows are coming as a null. So select that. So whenever you get such information, you need to cross check with your actual data source and see whether how the data has been stored in that actual source. All the values are null for that column or not? Is the additional column which got added automatically while importing? What exactly is happening? And based on that, you need to take a call whether you want to remove it or keep it. So select first column like this. It should grayed out. On the top ribbon, you have option of remove columns here. Click on the drop down and click on remove columns. Once you do that, you can see on the right side under applied steps, a new step is added called as removed column, and the column has been removed. If you want to go back and revoke your action, what you can do is you can simply click on this cross next to your step name. Click on it and it will revoke you to the previous action, which means your column is added again. Okay, so this is the beauty about steps, that if you want to keep, you can keep. If you want to remove the previous steps, you can go ahead and do it. So I'll again click on remove and I'll remove the column. So first step is I remove the columns. Now there are first 2 rows which are empty. Just cross check whether it's null for all the columns or not. If it's null for all the columns, then we don't need these rows at all. So what we'll do is we'll remove the rows. Click on remove rows from the top ribbon. The first option is remove top rows. Choose that option. And we know how many rows to be removed from top. So we are supposed to remove 2 rows from top. Click on OK. Now you can see the null rows have been removed. Now,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So that hovering option that you're saying that whenever we go to a column, we get the details. I'm not able to see that in my application. Is that because of the version difference?
This bar you're not able to see? No, if it's a version issue, then none of you will be able to see.
Okay.
So is it happening with everyone?
No, I'm able to see that.
Okay, then it's not a version issue. I think you need to hover it on properly on this bar here.
Actually, the application was pre-installed in my laptop, so I didn't install it right now. That could be the reason that my version is different than others.
Possible. Okay.
It's working for me. I mean, it's showing if I hover over the bar, so it's showing the data.
Okay. Many times it happens if you're not hovering it properly, you might not be able to see. So just try to play around whether you are correctly hovering or not. And if not, then you can update it to your latest version later on and then see whether it's there or not. And even if you are not getting, then let me know. I'll ask you to share your screen and we'll solve that.
Sure. There was one more thing. So, like, what is this navigation option does?
Where is that navigation option?
The right panel.
Right panel. Okay. So it just tells you what was the process it took to load your data. So the first step was source, finding out the source. It told that in an Excel workbook, FY20 was the sheet that was your source. Now from that sheet, you need to navigate to the expansion of that sheet where you can see all the columns here. So it is telling that the next step the Power BI has taken was the expansion of that sheet. If you remember, we checked on that button to see the preview there. So that was the expansion of the sheet which we did. We navigated from the name of the sheet to the complete data. From that, when we loaded, it tried adding some headers automatically and it tried changing the data type. So that's the reason all these 4 steps were by default there because these steps were taken by Power BI itself.
Okay. If we click on navigation again, it like increase the null row by 1. It's happening in my case. Can you like check it from your end as well?
If I click on navigation, you're saying?
Yeah. So earlier there were 2 rows for the null values. Now there are 3 rows. So why this is happening?
See, the rows, it's taking in this format. So like it's just increasing one more row here. This is null. So that has nothing to do with the import and all. Even if it's increasing, we need to remove. It depends on your your sheet only. How many rows the sheet has, it exact number of null rows you'll see here.
I mean, it's just in the next step, it's just promoting the first row as a column.
Right.
Yeah, that's all which is happening.
So this step is promoted header, right? I was just about to go that step after removal of top rows. So it will consider the first row as a header itself. Like you can give that option. I'll come to that point 1 minute.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So we have removed the top 2 rows here. So now you can see my first row which I'm getting is kind of similar to the header I should get, right? So product key, order date key, due date key are your column definitions or column headers which are supposed to be there. So if you see on top next to this group by, you have this drop down. Click on the drop down. You get 2 options here. The first option is use first row as header. That whatever your first row is there, use it as a header. So by default, what Power BI does is whenever you load your data, since it doesn't understand what should be the column headers, right? Whatever values are there on the first row, it will treat it as a header. And the second option is use headers as your first row. Many times what happens is you import your data, but you don't have the column headers in your data altogether. You only have your data handy. So which means your data is starting from row number 2 directly. The first row doesn't exist altogether. Now in that case, you cannot update your first row as a header, right? So, but Power BI while importing will definitely update the first row as a header. So your values will be updated as a header. So in that case, what step you need to take is you need to use headers as your first row. You need to reconvert your header to the first row. So that's the reason both the options are being present here. In our case, we'll go with the first option because we want to use the first row as headers. Now, when I clicked on use first row as a header, you can see automatically the second step is added, that is called change data type, which means as soon as we change the headers, Power BI itself has changed or updated the data types for each column. And now you will see all the data types will actually make sense with respect to what we need. Now scroll right, there are some date values. You can see a date as a header data type. Click on this calendar. You can see the list of data types which are available to us. If you are fine with what data type Power BI has assigned to that column, it's good. If you're not fine with that, you can just choose the data type which you think suits best to that column and change the data type. So those changes, those pre-processing can be done here. Okay. Any doubts, anyone?
Not yet.
Okay, so now you can see your data is coming in a proper format, which is readily available or which is ready for your next steps, which means you can load the data and you can do the creation of the graph, and all those things can be done on this data set because now it's in a proper format. Now, there might be a question to some people that there are few columns still which have empty values. Let's say tracking number, customer PO number and all. Now, what happens in general is whenever we create a data set or whenever data engineering creates such a structure in the table format or table structure, you can say, they end up creating few columns which are not required at that moment or won't have the data at that moment, but they expect the data to be populated in the next refresh or coming refreshes, right? So now instead of directly removing these columns which don't have a value like carrier tracking number, customer PO number and all, you should consult with your stakeholders, managers or PMs or your data engineering team and all, that why these columns have been present. Are we expecting the data to be populated in next refresh or something? If yes, don't delete them, because if they are populating the data later on, you just need to click on the refresh button and your complete data set will get refreshed. So before deleting these columns, you need to have a clear understanding about why it was created and all those things, right? So be cautious about when to delete a column and when not to delete. Okay, now once you have done this, right now whatever steps we have done were only applied to 1000 rows, but I need to apply it for the complete data set. So what we'll do is on the left side corner, top side, you have an option here, close and apply, apply and close. Close and apply means it will apply all the steps or all the actions which we have done, and it will close this Power Query editor window. Apply means it will apply all the actions on the entire data set, but the window will remain open. And close means it will only close the window, but it will not apply the actions on the entire data set. So it's always a good practice to do close and apply so that your whatever actions you have done can be implemented to the complete data set. Now you can see it's loading the data, creating the connection in the model, and loading the complete set of data. Okay, now once the data is loaded, you can see on the right side of the screen, under data, you can see the table name and the list of columns. Okay, is everyone clear with this till here? Any doubts? Cool. Please save your workbook. So on the left side corner, topmost side, you have a save option. Click on save. Give a name to your workbook. Give a name as per your thing. Okay. Once you have saved your data, everything is clear. Repeat the same steps for sales FY21 and 22. Import the data, do all the cleaning, similar set of cleaning what we have done here in the last file. Save the file and load it here. Do it for both the files. You can do it at your pace. I'm doing it my pace. And if you have any doubts, let me know.
Prakshita, so far we did the removal of the top rows. I mean, the first column removal and removal of the top rows and make the column first row as the header, right? That's all we did. Anything?
Right.
Okay. Just one query. We have load and transform, both options are there, right? So I can understand the transform is required for pre-processing, data cleaning, and then we loading it. Any scenario we directly use a load option? I mean,
In many cases, what will happen is your data engineering team is supposed to create the tables for you. And when they create the tables are already pre-processed and all the cleaning things are already done. Now, on that, if your data is coming into one table only, you don't have to do any joins or append options, whatever options you find in the Power Query editor, you don't have to do any transformations. Then you can directly load it on the page itself. Every time you don't have to load it on the transform window and go back.
Okay, yeah, depends on the use case, right? Okay.
Yeah, depends on the use case.
Thank you.
I just want you guys to be aware of these things, that these are the options which are with us, because these things you cannot do on the Tableau. Tableau, you'll have a Tableau prep as a separate product altogether where all the data pre-processing needs to be done and the process data needs to be loaded on the tool. So the separate product again. But on the Power BI, it's inside the one product itself.
Okay.
Which is widely used? Is it Tableau or Power BI?
Both of them are extensively used like these days. Tableau is a much older platform as compared to Power BI. So, but recently many of the companies are shifting to Power BI because of cost also, because Tableau license is costlier as compared to Power BI license.
But feature-wise, both are one and the same, or we have more rich features in Tableau. That's why the license cost is a bit higher.
We have more rich features in Power BI as compared to Tableau. There are a lot of things which you can do in Power BI, but you cannot do it over Tableau. Even if you can do it, let's say there is one function I need to implement in Power BI, I can implement it in an 15 minutes work. But in Tableau, the same functionality to implement, I might take 1 hour because it's not straightforward in Tableau. You need to apply a lot of things and then go there.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Well, once we close and apply, if we want to apply some more transformations, how do we get back?
You can click on transform window on the desktop. I'll just show 1 minute. See, it doesn't show it off. You have this transform data on the Power BI desktop.
Okay.
It will open that window.
Prashita, I see one more alternative here in the data side, like it is having an option of edit. Edit query option is there. We can also use that, right, to launch the query window in the right side, in the rightmost side, the data you see, right? Sales, yeah, the three dots. No. Go to the data and click on three dots. Sales FY 2021, 22, like that, right?
Okay, here.
Yeah, and there is an edit query option, which launches the
Yeah.
query window back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know once we have imported all the three files.
It's done.
Okay. So now there was one file in the dimension folder, Adventure Works. We'll import that too. So we'll click on New Source, Excel Workbook. Go to Sales Dimension, Adventure Works, and open. Now, when you open this Excel, it tells me that there are 4 different sheets inside this Excel: dim customer, dim date, dim geography, dim product. Now, if you want to only import only one of the sheet, you can choose a particular sheet and import. If you want to import all the sheets, you can just check mark all the sheets. So all the sheets, 4 sheets, can be imported at one go. And you can see that there are some transformations which is required for all these sheets too. So just select all the 4 sheets and click on OK.
Can you repeat once more?
Yeah, go to New Source, click on Excel Workbook, choose Adventure, go to folder called Sales Dimension and choose file Adventure Works DW. Once you choose it off, select in this, you'll get 4 different sheets inside this Excel. Now, either you can select only one sheet if you want to work on one of them, or you can select all the 4 at one go and click on OK. Okay. Yeah, so now you can have a look at these sheets also. There are some pre-processing which we need to do. So almost similar step what we have done before. So the first column you can see is null. Again, it was the formatting part. So you will see the first column as null everywhere. So remove columns. In the row part, only one row is null. So when you do top rows, you just need to remove one from there. So top one row to be removed. And first row as header. Do the same activity for all the 3 files: dim customer, dim date, and dim geography.
So if we want to, remove like first row, second row, or fifth row, like the custom rows, do we have an option?
See, if it's a custom rows, you'll have some condition on why you want to remove. If it's null, if the complete row is null, or if it's a formatting issue, all the null rows will come together, either on top or bottom. If it's in between, then you'll have one or the other condition, like are there any others in the row? Are there any duplicate information in the row, or blank rows, or every alternate row is being added as a null? So all these options you can choose. Apart from these options, if you have any custom number in place, you cannot remove that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So either you need to sort it out with the null together in the Excel itself and then import it off.
The name of the table should remain as it is, dim customer, dim date.
Yeah. Let it remain as it is, because we'll learn concept of merge, append and all. We'll as it is create a new names there. Okay, once you have done this, open the file missing dim product from sales dimension. Open it in an Excel format, go through that file and tell me what information you can see there.
That's basically product details.
Yeah, but why do you think the product details are in a separate sheet altogether? I already have the dim product here.
Just
Just one query. I cannot select multiple files when I try the Excel workbook option.
Multiple sheets you're saying?
Yeah.
Why? It should not happen, because if what happens is if you even load it here. Multiple files you cannot select. You cannot select multiple Excels, but in one Excel, you'll definitely see all the sheets present.
Oh, okay. I was mistaken. Okay, so it is okay. We cannot select multiple spreadsheets at a time, right? Okay. I was thinking that we can select multiple spreadsheets in the import wizard. Okay.
It's a date-wise product details, like region-wise product details, something like that, or
maybe it's like for the same product we may have different specification, like the size differences, or let's say talk about the shoes. It may be present with the different sizes, and customer can opt any one of them, like based on their size, and out of that also some sizes may present, may not present. So that's why individual level we are keeping that information.
Okay, your case is true, but in this case, what in general team does is they update the same ID or same row for the given product basically, because in a table, in a master table, you cannot have one product ID repeated twice, because else the concept of master table fails basically. So that's the reason whatever is your latest update information, they'll update on the given row only. But that case is possible. So in the current case, what is happening is you have the missing dim product, which means these two product IDs were missing from the previous product table, which was shared. So these two product IDs might not be present in the existing product table. So let's say they shared one data with you, one product master, and later on they added new products. So instead of sharing the list again, what they shared was they just shared the new product list with you. So these two products were not present before, but are added now. That's what missing dim product table holds the information for. So let's import that. And okay.
Instead of importing, it's better we merge it, right, along with the existing products.
So now there are two ways of merging it, right? One, you can do it in Excel only and then import it off. Another way is you do it on the Power BI itself. So if you are getting both the files together the first time ever, you can merge it in Excel and then import it off so that you reduce the workaround on the Power BI. But let's say I created my data form and dashboard right now. And later on, let's say after 1 month, I got the list of new products. I cannot update like in the data set, right? Even if you update in the data set, it will read the rows there, but you're getting a separate file. So you can even merge it on the Power BI there and uh, change the referencing. So both the options are available to whichever is easy for you, you can like choose that option. It depends on the size of the data also. Let's say I'll come to that point. So let's say the sales FY 2021 and 22. These three are your transaction level data, right? Now, for every year you are getting a separate file altogether for the transaction data. Now, let's say when you want to create a graph and you want to do comparison across year, you cannot do with three different tables, right? If you have three different tables, you need to create three different graphs. And if you're creating three different graphs, you won't be able to compare within it. So what we need to do is we need to append the data together, store it in one table, only then your comparison will work across years. So that will do, like we'll have all those things in place and we'll do all these options. So now if you do the same thing in Excel, if your transaction level of rows is around 9 lakh, 10 lakh rows, it wouldn't be possible to merge it in Excel itself. You have to do it on Power BI. So again, depends on use case to use case, you can change what to be done here, what can be done explicitly and all those things. Okay, this is done. We don't have to do any transformation on this missing dim product because everything is in a proper format directly. We'll also load the third file in the folder called sales territory. So if you'll notice, sales territory is a text file. I'll just show you. So if you see why the size is so okay.
What should I put in the delimiter? The pipe sign or what?
Delimiter here is called pipe. So I'll explain you the sheet and then we'll load. So this sales territory sheet is has the data in the text format and is delimited by this delimiter. This is called as a pipe delimiter basically. So instead of comma or space, the current data has been delimited using this pipe format. Now what you need to do is you need to see your raw file and see what type of delimiters are being used in your raw file. And while importing the data in the Power BI, let's go there and import now. Use text and CSV. Choose the file sales territory. Open.
Power BI has auto-detected the pipe in the delimiter.
It might not.
Okay.
Okay, sometimes it will, sometimes it will not.
In my
So,
case, it has updated.
it has updated, right? So right now, you can see when you import this, it tells you file origin. It chooses the delimiter as custom and it has added this pipe here. So Power BI has automatically understood that the delimiter we have used here is pipe, and based on how the detection is happening, data type detection is happening on based on first 200 rows. You can even change this option if you feel the data type detection should be on the entire data set. Choose it off. You don't want to detect the data type, you can go ahead with this option and you can go ahead with the first 200 rows also. Now, in many cases, what happen is Power BI might not be able to understand the delimiter by itself. If there are multiple delimiters, it might not be understand. So if you see colon, it's showing you only one column which has all the values. If you go with the space, let's say, no, many times it happens, no, if it's a CSV or TSV, it should be tab separated. But if the delimiter is tab here, it's not separating the values based on tab, right? So in this case, you can choose custom. You can even apply your own delimiters if you are aware, and it will separate the values in the column format. And click on OK. Many times, see, 95 to 98% of times, whatever Power BI does it by own will be correct only. In many cases, when it's incorrect or we need to change is other cases where the same column can act as a different value. Let's say there is a flag indicator, let's say 0, 1, 2 flag, right? Now Power BI can read it as a number also, continuous value 0, 1, 2. But for me, it is a categorical value because these are flags. These are acting as a discrete in nature, right? So that understanding I have because I know the background of the business or the data. Power BI will understand it is a continuous because the way it's been coded is like that. Okay, so those are the differences where you need to check up on the data. Okay, now what is the issue you can see in this data? Sales territory.
11 does
not
not
sorted.
have any value. And
11 does it have value, okay.
row number
Duplicate
9 and row
data,
number 12
duplicate
are
entries.
duplicate details.
Okay. Duplicate entries and 11 doesn't have the value. Perfect.
Yeah.
So duplicate entries should not be there because this is your primary key. Sales territory key is your primary key and it should not be repeated at all. The key should not be repeated and we can see the complete row has a duplicate entry. So what we can do is just simply go to remove rows, click on duplicate, remove duplicates. It will simply remove the duplicate entry from the data. If it's one, it will remove one. If it's many, it will remove. When it says duplicate entry, all the column values should be exactly same. If even one column value is changing, it will not treat as a duplicate entry. Okay, so for a row, all the column values should be exactly same to call it as a duplicate. And now again, when we say the last row 11 has any other option, now the question is, should we delete this or not? I would say no, because it is saying that your territory key ID is present, but the values are not present, right? So there is a high possibility that in your transaction level details, you already have a order being placed from this sales territory. So territory key 11 might be present as a order from where the order has been placed. The thing is, we don't have the information about that territory key. That can be one way of reading this data. Another way is this territory key doesn't exist at all, and it's not there in your transaction level data also, and we don't have the information in the dimension tables also. So we can simply go ahead and delete it off. But again, to make the choice, you should have a clear understanding, because if you delete this entry right away, and when you merge the territory name or group or country to the transaction level information, in that case, this merge or join will not happen and it will show me null values. For all the orders being placed from 11 as a territory will show me null values because the territory key doesn't exist. We have deleted it off. And if we don't delete it off, and if it exists, it will join, it will show me the territory number, and it will tell me the data is incomplete for this. So there are two different issues which can be dictated further to the business or people, right? So again, you need to take a call completely based on the use case and the understanding of the data. These two columns are sample time. Yes,
So should we remove the duplicates from each column, or will it suffice if we remove the duplicates from the primary column itself?
You should not remove the duplicates from each column at all, because let's say first two rows, right? You
Yep.
can see first two rows, 3 columns have same value. So if we delete it from each column, it will not make sense. If you see it at a row level, these two rows are independent to each other. They are not same. Okay. So the primary key here is your sales territory key, and everything should be done at a primary key level. Unique identifier here is your sales territory key.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Any other doubts, anyone? Okay.
Prakshit, I just found out when you're explaining about the transformation phase, you talked about it will be applicable, the changes will be applicable for first 1,000 rows, right? And what should we do to apply the changes across all the rows?
Click on close and apply. So it will get saved and get applied to all the rows.
Oh, okay, only that's the step, right? We don't need any extra. Okay.
Oh, no, in another step.
Thank
Okay, I'll click on that step, but I just want to cover one more thing and then we can do it. So we saw that dim product and missing dim product, right? So we saw there were two extra product IDs which needs to be added in the existing table itself. So since we need to append this information, we'll use the option of append queries on top. In the combine section, you have append queries. So what we'll do is click on append queries. You get two options, append queries and append queries as new. So it's advisable to always go ahead with append queries as new, because in this case, a new table gets created where the appended information is being stored. If you choose the first option, it will overwrite one of the existing tables and store the append queries. So later on, if you want to revoke anything, you won't be able to do that. So it's always advisable to create a new table. So append queries as new. You want to append the information from two tables. Choose your first table, that is dim product. Choose the second table, that is missing dim product, and click on OK. So you can see a new table got created, append 1, which has the data from both the tables. Now you can change this table name. Initial way of changing the table name from the right side properties part from here. Another way of changing the table name is you can simply click on append name on the left side itself, double click on it, and you can change. Name it as product master. And make sure going forward for all the reports or wherever we want to use the product information, we'll use product master, not dim product or missing dim product, because this is the new table which we have created. Now, one question. If I scroll right, I have two columns called start date and end date. If I hover on the column profiling, I can see there are only two valid entries and 99% are null. What should I do here? And why I'm seeing two valid entries? What's the reason? Any guesses?
It may be on hold.
Maybe on?
It may be on hold, like someone has ordered, but yet to be started it.
Or maybe some wrong date format or date type, that can be a cause.
They might be the duplicate data points, firstly, or maybe there would be some raw data. These two possibilities can be there.
Okay, okay, I haven't received the correct answer yet.
And the one who created the product catalog of this product master didn't fill the data. Start date and end date.
Okay.
I think those products are active.
Those products are active, okay. Okay. So the correct answer here is, if you remember, this is a product master. We appended the data from dim product and missing dim product. Now, if you go to individual tables, the start date and end date columns are only present in the second table, that is missing dim product. These two columns are not present in your initial version, that is your dim product. So that's the reason you are getting only 2 entries here for these two rows, which are part of missing dim product, and for others, you are not getting the entry. So the point here to focus is, whenever you are appending the information from different tables, make sure the columns are common within the tables. If you have different columns which are not part, just have a relook at those columns, whether they are required or not, because you'll get the maximum values as null there. So let's say this end date, right? It's 100% null. You can see 100% is empty, because in the missing dim product also, we had this column, but it was empty. And in the dim product, we never had this column, so it was empty. So again, we don't need this column because it's 100% empty. It's not coming. So again, the point here to focus is, whenever you are appending the columns, cross-check whether the columns are same from the different tables or not. That's what we need to call out. Okay, the last thing for the day is, we'll create one more append query. As I said, we'll create one table where all the 3 transaction years data is there. So append queries as new.
So are we removing the end date and start date column from
No, we are not removing right now.
Okay.
Append queries as new. Since we have 3 tables, so click on this 3 or more tables. Now, okay. Now, before clicking on append queries as new, select your sales FY20 table first, and then click on append queries as new. So this will come as a default one. Now click on 3 or more tables. You can see the left box is having your available table. The right box is the place which shows you what all tables you want to append. So drag and drop your table here. Select, click on add, select, click on add. So on the right table, you should have 3, right box, you should have 3 tables, FY20, 21, 22. Once you have it, click on OK. And rename the new table as sales data. And once you do this, click on close and apply, so that it gets applied to all entire data set for all the tables. That's all for today. If you have any questions, please ask me.
Prakshita, can you explain what is the append query on the sales territory that we tried? The previous step you did, no?
We didn't try on sales territory. We tried on dim product and missing dim product.
Okay. Now we imported the text into a CSV, right? I mean the text data, right? With pipe separated. So you said that in that we need to click on append query as new, and we saved it as a
No, in that you don't have to click on the append query. When you import the sales territory, we just remove the duplicates from the sales territory. That's it.
Okay.
The step was over. After that, we talked about dim product and missing dim product. So in that case, you need to do an append query as new and create a new table where you are storing the information from dim product and missing dim product as a product master, and then we created sales data.
Okay, got it.
So now no problem. After doing the apply, you can see on the left side, all the tables are with us. Even the new tables which we created are with us. And once you do this, click on save. So we have not completed all the phases of transformation yet, but maximum chunk from the transformation is been done. 90% is done. So in the next class, we'll talk about how the merge works. We'll show you some concepts of merge, and then we'll move to the data view on this desktop version, and we'll see how to use the DAX expression. So in next class, we'll be focusing on learning merge queries and how we can do create calculative fields and measures using the DAX language.
Ma'am, in case we have appended the query but not as new, so in the applied steps, we'll find a step there that we have appended the query, right?
You'll find the appended query, but whatever your default table was there, which you selected, that table will get updated with the new data.
Correct. So in case we need to undo that step, we can just simply cross that applied step, right? And our data won't be changed.
Right. If you want to go back. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Pritesh, I don't have the drive link handy with me. I'll ask the team to share the drive link and we'll upload the files. Right now, as I have already uploaded on the chat window. And once I get the drive link, I'll upload it on the drive also. I'll upload all the decks. So I have around 7 decks. I can just show you guys 1 minute.
Can you
Also,
put it on the
the
chat?
PDF that you have
That PDF only
discussed.
I'm talking about. So
Okay.
all these PDFs, I have around 7 PDFs. So like the first PDF we discussed about the data visualization. Second PDF, whatever process I told you to transform the data. Everything has been mentioned in these PDFs. So this is not for now, but like later on, if you want to, if you forget anything or if you want to have a look, you can just see whatever transformation processes are there, explanation about the tabs and everything has been added here.
Can you please zip and share it on the chat itself, because it takes time for them
Okay,
to
I'll just
create
share
a
it.
drive and upload it, yeah.
I'll just share it right away, the first 2 PDFs. Yeah. Cool, guys. We'll wind up for today and practice this. If you have any doubts, like jot down it, we can discuss in the next class. Cool. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Prashita.
nice day.
Thank you.